What if the greatest obstacle to Darcy's happiness isn't his pride or Elizabeth's prejudice, but the rigid adherence to a script that demands he suppress his competence in favor of performative aloofness? And true devotion requires rewriting the rules of gentlemanly conduct to honor practical care over social posturing. In A Practical Man, Grace Gibson delivers a Pride and Prejudice variation that transforms the Regency romance into a luminous exploration of masculine tenderness and functional love, proving that in societies obsessed with appearance, the most radical act is showing up with tools instead of titles. This isn't merely another what-if retelling with altered timelines. It's a psychologically precise narrative where every repaired carriage wheel feels like both courtship and confession. Consent is negotiated through acts of service rather than assumed entitlement, and partnership means valuing utility when culture demands ornamentation. From the first workshop-scented narration, listeners are immersed in a world where worth is measured in mended things, and presence is the only true proposal. Perfect for fans of thoughtful Austen variations and stories where male vulnerability defies period expectations. This audiobook serves up atmospheric warmth, relentless emotional honesty, and protagonists whose journey from mismatched ideals to sovereign equals resonates with anyone who's ever loved someone better known for their hands than their heart. When Fitzwilliam Darcy inherits Pemberley not as a polished estate, but as a failing enterprise requiring immediate mechanical intervention, he expects solitary burden, not to discover Elizabeth Bennet's sharp mind extends beyond parlor wit to agricultural innovation, and her willingness to work beside him bypasses the social barriers that once kept them apart. But as they navigate broken machinery and familial skepticism, Darcy realizes this collaboration isn't about salvation, it's about recalibration. Gibson masterfully avoids reducing Darcy to reformed rake or Elizabeth to modern anachronism. Instead, she crafts a relationship rooted in radical reciprocity within constraint, where trust is earned through shared labor rather than verbal declarations, and where intimacy emerges from seeing each other's capabilities without demanding conformity. The audiobook narration amplifies this emotional precision, capturing Darcy's disciplined restraint softening into genuine receptivity, and Elizabeth's spirited independence revealing depths beneath playful defiance. You don't just hear their bond deepen, you feel the seismic shift of two souls learning that some connections can only be forged when you stop performing roles and start building something real. What elevates A Practical Man beyond typical PNP variations is its nuanced portrayal of masculinity as collaborative stewardship rather than inherited authority. Darcy isn't merely fixing estates, he's confronting how aristocratic culture taught him to equate worth with detachment, challenging the notion that leadership requires emotional distance. Elizabeth doesn't tame him through charm. She creates space where his practicality can exist without shame, honoring his expertise even as his own walls crumble. Their relationship evolves through acts of radical reciprocity, sharing silences during late-night repairs that bypass performance, establishing rhythms that protect both operational integrity and emotional safety, and defending each other from relatives who mistake evolution for impropriety. Supporting characters add vital texture, servants whose loyalty encodes institutional wisdom, siblings whose growth reflects systemic change, even Pemberley itself, rendered as a living archive whose creaking beams absorb decades of unspoken resilience. Every interaction reinforces the novel's core truth. In worlds built on hierarchy, tenderness is technique, and presence is the only true inheritance. Even the Regency mechanics serve thematic depth, with maintenance schedules mirroring emotional attunement, and harvest cycles becoming metaphors for earned trust. For audiobook listeners, this production is pure auditory comfort with substance. The narrator embodies Darcy and Elizabeth with remarkable distinction. Darcy's voice carries gravelly exhaustion laced with dawning warmth, while Elizabeth's tone holds bright intelligence beneath layers of hard-won softness, making their chemistry palpable even during technical discussions. Sound design enhances atmosphere without overwhelming immersion. Distant hammer taps marking creative rhythm, rain against barn windows during vulnerable confessions, the hushed rustle of blueprints syncing with breath during moments of clarity, all anchor emotional stakes in sensory reality. Pacing mirrors the cadence of restoration, deliberate during planning and reflection, then surging with urgency as external pressures collide with internal breakthroughs. Whether you're commuting through modern chaos or unwinding in twilight solitude, the audiobook creates a portable sanctuary where slowness feels sacred and connection feels lifeline. Its storytelling is embodied validation, transforming passive listening into active participation in a love story that honors both duty and desire. Ultimately, A Practical Man redefines Pride and Prejudice variations by centering male emotional labor within historical frameworks. It satisfies genre cravings for satisfying chemistry and faithful adaptation, while delivering substantive commentary on class performance, feminine agency, and the radical act of building partnerships based on mutual recognition rather than prescription. No prior knowledge of Austen's original is required. It stands confidently as a complete emotional odyssey. If you've ever wondered whether love can thrive in practical spaces, or if true strength requires embracing what others dismiss, this audiobook will affirm that sometimes the most powerful vow is simply showing up with open hands. Press
play, pick up the wrench, and prepare to believe that even in landscapes shaped by tradition, hearts still find ways to build anew. Your next favorite Austen variation isn't waiting in grand ballrooms. It's waiting in the brave, trembling choice to mend what matters most.